Our socialist paradise under the world's worst Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is, shall we say, not a paradise. You got some questions?
Yes, on that note, should the farmers go on strike after being screwed over by Keir Starmer?
Yes, definitely.
Pay inheritance tax at 20%. I'm going to have to pay it at 40%. What about the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker who passes
but you're not feeding the nation.
Who passes their business down? What has screwed the farmers has been the Tories, tax loopholes, Brexit and supermarket. Yeah. And if the farmers think that they're going to hold us all to ransom, what will happen to them is what happened to other farmers in Europe. They'll just go, supermarkets will just go...
So you don't think farmers should have any special...
Listen, it's going to affect about 500 farmers and the 500 farmers and the actual threshold...
Well, why did they do it then?
The actual threshold...
It won't affect...
The actual threshold is going to be about 3 million quid, and they get 10 years to pay it back.
You say 500 farms.
About 500 farms.
Why is it then? Do you know how many farms there are in this country?
70,000.
No, 209,000. And the treasury... No, there are 209,000... Listen to me. 209,000 farms in this country. The Treasury figures, as in the government's figures, they say it will affect 27% of British farms. That comes out to around about 60 or 70,000 farms. It's not 500. And those are the government figures.
Sorry, 70,000 farms that will be affected by this, but at the end of the day, it's 500.
Yeah, but
it will be 500 farms that have to pay the 500 farms that will have to pay the threshold. Kevin,
BBC fact-checking have already said they made a... No, Simon, it's going to... According to the Treasury, it will affect 60 to 70,000 farms. According to DEFRA, which is our agricultural ministry, part of the government, they agree with the Farmers' Union, who say it will affect 66%, two-thirds of them. So that's like 180,000 or 170,000.
Also, the figures that you're quoting, if you know that you pay...
I know a lot about
when you pay inheritance tax, if it's going to affect farms that at 1 million, you already have a tax-free allowance and an inheritance tax of about 325,000.
If it's going to affect 500 farms... What's the point of the measure? That'll make peanuts. That'll make like a few hundred quid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and a few hundred...
Of course it's not going to... It's going to affect a lot more than that.
Listen,
the government says so.
We all pay...
A few hundred quid to pay for the excess of the Labour government. All they've been doing is spending on useless crap like giving train drivers six-figure salaries.
Yeah, that's what this is about.
You know, and as we heard earlier the week, you know, sending 470 people to COP29. It's just, I mean, I don't think... You know, Keir Starmer keeps saying, oh, it's not a big amount of money. Then don't do this.
Yeah, well, if it's not a big amount of money, why bother? Exactly right. This is cultural. This is a bunch of metropolitan, elite, socialist politicians punishing people from the rural areas because farmers, agricultural workers don't vote Labour.
Yeah.
Last year,
wise of them.
Last year, 56% of farming land was bought by big business. This is to stop big business buying up that land.
Oh, yeah. That's why the farmers like it so much.
The land.
You're not correct.
So it's good for the farmers. So why are they protesting?
To stop that loophole.
Simon, you clearly
so that people can hang on to
No, it's not about that.
They're protesting because they can't afford now, under this system, 20% inheritance tax.
Where everybody else pays 40.
To pass on but they get special dispensation.
Yeah, they get...
The whole thing about this is that it's actually not going to affect the big corporations. It's going to affect...
It is.
No, and it's not going to affect the really poor farmers. It's going to affect the middle, which is the thing that's actually the backbone of our nation. And I just think that it's so disrespectful of these people that live in the inner suburbs of London to be ruling on people...
These SOBs from our Labour government, why did they cancel the winter fuel allowance in this country?
Yeah,
let's just explain it. In this country, old age pensioners, they get, until Labour came in, they got like £300 a year, $500 or something like that, to heat their homes, to help them heat their homes during the winter, because a lot of them are quite hard up, quite poverty-stricken. Labour, our socialist pals who became the government in July, they cancelled that. And now we're in the winter. We have a station here called Talk. We're getting phone calls from old ladies and old men sobbing because they're sitting in their homes and it's like -1. That's what this socialist government's done. And why did they do it? Because old people don't vote Labour. They're really cruel and rude.
OK, here's one for you then,
You agree
Kevin.
with that?
Here's one. No, I just said.
You agree with that?
I said I do not
it was
agree
horrible
with,
to
yes,
do that.
And I don't agree with the winter fuel tax cut. I think it's terrible.
Good.
But I also think that if you're a man who's built up a load of butchers' shops, and then when you die, you want to pass that family business on to your kids, why did those kids have to pay inheritance tax of 40% straight away when farmers get to pay it at 20% over a 10-year period with no interest?
No,
it's not fair.
You know what the difference is?
I would give the same dispensation to the butchers because they're helping to feed the nation as well.
Cool.
We're
bringing the farmers in line with everybody else.
Are going to go down the toilet, aren't
but also, Simon, you just reveal how little you know about the farming community because when you talk about that butcher,
I'm an expert.
Well,
yes.
I'm Australian. Listen to me on this. That farmer has built up that business first generation. All these farms are like 10th generation. And so the people who are running them don't actually have that much money. It's all inherited.
But I'm saying about a butcher as well.
I think they should get dispensation.
You can have a family business that has been running since...
But Simon, you're complete. This isn't even the point of the whole conversation. It's actually about the fact that we're taxing really vulnerable people and Labour it's not normal to have
listen,
protest.
a lot of the...
Also, Simon, if you say it's affecting very, very few farms, that means that the revenue that the government says it so desperately needs will be negligible. So why cause all the upset? Why do it?
It's also to
Why
stop...
do it? No, answer that question. Why do it? If it's not...
I'm trying to answer the question.
No, you're not. Is it?
Yes, I am.
Go on, then.
It's to stop... it's also to stop... They're trying to do three things here. They're trying to make it more... They're trying to make a fairer system for people who haven't had to pay inheritance tax up until now. They're trying to stop wealthy landowners. You know how much... You know how many acres Jeremy Clarkson bought? Your average farmer is around about 200 acres. He bought something like, I think, 4,000 acres. And he did say in the interview it was to get round inheritance tax. And it's also to slow down big business buying up farmland, which then they're building on. So there's three things they're trying to do there.